Hello friends, welcome to bsptrainings.com. My name is Sumit, and in this video I'm going to demonstrate you how to create a GUI based financial reports. So what do I mean by GUI based financial reports? As you have gone through my previous videos, in those videos I explained how to create financial reports by using a financial data. Now I got a requirement from my client that he would like to create a GUI form, or he would like to present a GUI form in front of his clients, so that whenever the client, or based on the user selection, the reports will be generated. So that kind of interface I would required. So you can see here, whenever I execute my Python code, I would like this kind of interface, or this kind of form should be present in front of a user. And this option will be used to load the file. So whenever user clicked on this click to load file, he would be allowed to load the file, and based on the user selection, like month wise expenditure or region wise expenditure, and when the user clicked on the button, this generate report button, so based on the user selection, the reports will get generated. So in this video we are just displaying the output, we are just showing the report on the fly. We can add one more button over here to save the reports in a PDF format on a local system. So we'll see that in next series of video, but in this video we are going to work only this much. So let's have a look, how can we do that, or how can we generate a report like this. So I'll first of all I'll open GUI, that is the ideal script editor, and in this script editor I load a new file, and here first of all I'll save this and give a name, app GUI1. I give a name to this, app GUI1.py. So the libraries are required, which are required to generate this kind of scenario, this kind of program. The first library will be import Tkinter. This is to generate GUI codes. One more library I read, that is easy GUI. This library will be is required to load the open file dialog box. For open file dialog box, I need this kind of this library. Then import pandas as PD, import numpy as np, import matplotlib dot pyplot as plt, because we are using charts here, bar charts, and from tkinter import star, so it will load all other libraries which are available in tkinter. So very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a class here, simple app, named as simple app underscore tk, and tkinter dot tk. I create one initialize function here, init self comma, and we'll just move it a little bit. You can see the auto indentation is working here. So tkinter dot tk dot underscore underscore init underscore underscore self comma parent. So basically this will be a constructor in tk, and here I passed the self comma parent parameters, and self dot parent is equal to parent, initializing it, self dot initialize. So I initialize the function. Then I create one initialize function, initialize self. Basically this function we are calling self dot initialize, and here I create self dot grid. So this will be a grid format. Self dot var is equal to int var. So very first thing, I create one variable. This variable will be going to use to keep tracking the values of the checkbox. So which checkbox is selected, which radio button is selected. This is to check the value of that particular radio button. Self dot entry variable. This is to define one variable. Ticenter dot string where self dot entry is equal to ticenter dot entry self comma text. V should be in small letters. Variable is equal to self dot entry self dot entry dot grid. I set the column is equal to 0, row is equal to 1, sticky is equal to even, and then so I'm going to load I'm going to load up create a button first of all. So I create here button to create a button to load files from the local directory. So I create here button is equal to ticenter dot button and self comma text is equal to it should be in it's a character, so I write click to load file comma command is equal to self dot on button click. So we need to define this on button click command. We need to create this button, and then I add this button on the grid, button dot grid. So to add this button on the grid, and I want to add this on column is equal to 1 and row is equal to 1. So if I run this on the column 0, because it's a grid format, so this it will become like this. It will create a grid, and in this grid you know that we have rows and columns. So I want to place the first text field. I add in the column 0, row 1, column 0, that's the column 0, and row 1, and column 1, row 1. So I create this, I define this, and then now next is we need to add the radio buttons. So I create here C1 is equal to radio button self comma text is equal to month wise expenditure comma variable is equal to self dot var1 comma sorry, it should be self dot var, not var1, because here we initialize the value, the variable as a var1, and here on radio button and var1 variable is equal to self var1, and I set the value, its value is equal to 1, height is equal to 5, and width is equal to 20. This is one button. We need one more button. So to add another button or the second radio button, I'll just copy paste it, copy this, paste it. This should be C2 is equal to radio button. This is, I set this to region wise expenditure. This I set this value is equal to 2, and I need one button as well to load the chart. So also I create that button. So to create that button, I copy this and paste it. Tkinter dot button, and this is to, I'll check the title. I set the title as a generate report, and on button click self button command is equal to self dot load underscore chart. So we'll be going to define these chart. Now I need to add the columns. So first I add the radio button. So C1 dot grid, I specify their locations. Column is equal to 0 and row is equal to 2. And to add this C2, so again I copy this, paste it. This should be C2 dot grid. This will be on column 1, column 0 and column 1 and row 2. And then we need to add a button. So this button, the second button which we created for this Tkinter, I define this button here, button dot grid column 0, column 0. This should be in row 3, and I specify here uh, I want to place the same button in a center, so I set column span is equal to 2. Then self I want to add a label to display a message, so I specify here self dot label variable, self dot label variable, initialize it, Tkinter dot string var label is equal to Tkinter dot label self comma text variable is equal to self dot label variable anchor is equal to w, foreground is equal to black, that's the foreground color, black, and the background color I set to white. Then I add this label on the grid, label dot grid. It should be on column is equal to 0, row is equal to 0, column span is equal to 2, sticky is equal to reader. And in this label I need to set a value, so I write label self dot label variable dot set. This is to set the default value, set u load file, load file to generate financial report, self dot grid underscore column configure 0 comma weight is equal to 1, self dot I set the resizable true comma false, self dot update, this will update it whenever we refresh it, whenever we resize it, it should re-update, and it should arrange all the buttons and all the text, all the fields in a proper manner. Self dot geometry, self dot self dot entry dot focus underscore set self dot entry dot selection underscore range 0 comma decanter dot end. Now the next thing we are going to do is we'll be going to define this on button click, and you define this on button click, and in this on button click I'm going to open the file. I'm going to open the file open file dialog box so that user can make a selection. So I create here def on button click and self, and here I create a variable path is equal to easy GUI dot file open box, and I set message is equal to please locate the CSV file. I set the title is equal to specify file, then self dot entry variable dot set path. So it will display the path. Then when the user clicked on the button to load the chart, I need to load the charts. I need to click on it to load the chart based on the user selection. Because see here we have this button, it will call the load under chart. So I need to define this function as well. So I create here def load underscore chart. So the first thing I need to get the selected value. So as opt is equal to self dot where dot get. It will return the selected value, because you see we have set the values here. If user select the first radio button, the value will set to 1. If the user select the region wise expenditure radio button, the self dot where value will set to 2. Self dot where dot value, it will set to 2. So whatever value will be there, it will store in this opt, and then we run that if opt equal 1 self dot month underscore expenditure. This will be the function which I will be going to call if user select the first radio button. So this will call the month wise expenditure. Else it will call, or if else, or we can use if as well, like if opt equal 2, then it will call self dot region underscore expenditure, and it will return the return. Now the next thing, we need to create these two functions, self month underscore expenditure. So I create these two functions, def month underscore expenditure self, and def region underscore region underscore expenditure self. And they will return value to it. So return statement in this function as well, I need return statement. So we'll see that, and here I need to call the function. So I write if underscore name underscore equal underscore main. So if it calls the main, then app is equal to simple app underscore tk none, and app dot title financial report tool and app dot I'll call the main loop. Now we need to define the values here. So we have already calculated the month expenditure and region wise expenditure in the previous examples in the previous report. So I'll just copy paste from there. So you can see I have copy paste the existing code, and here we have done it. So I have made a change here that instead of passing the static value, I just pass a value here, file path. So this file path is basically, it will extract the value from the self.entry.variable.get, and in this self.entry.variable we have set the path which we extracted after the loading the file. So this is the month wise expenditure, this is the region wise expenditure. This we have already done in existing videos, in existing reports. Now if I run it, I'll got a screen as desired, and it asking for load to generate financial reports. So I click on load file and I load the financial data. So that's the location of my file, and you can see the format is in .csv format. Now if I want to see the month wise expenditure, I simply click on month wise expenditure and click on generate report. So it will display me the month wise expenditure along with the proper axis, x-axis, y-axis, and all the values. In similar way, if I click on region wise expenditure after closing the existing one and click on generate report, it will display me the region wise expenditure. You can see we have got regions here. So that's how we can create a report or a GUI based report. Now if we can take this ahead, we can have one more button here to export the report in a PDF format or in an image format, or we can use the same to send emails directly from this particular by using this tool by clicking on a button. So we'll be going to see that in next video. So that's all in this video. If you have any queries, you can get back to us on www.bisptrainings.com. You can subscribe our YouTube channel for videos on Python. Keep watching. Have a nice day. Goodbye.